Ayy, lighting it up like a hallway. Tell them get ready to party. Beast mode, break out the cage. I'm killing the game in the 7th.
Welcome to the TheSearchLabs podcast. Today we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to be hosting this episode. With me, I got my colleague Zach. Today we're going to be talking about some popular marketing acronyms and terms that you may hear when it comes to digital marketing and paid search and web development. That way, when you're hiring someone to do marketing, you can understand what they're talking about.
So the whole thing is like there are so many acronyms and so many three-letter ones. I mean, you know, when it's like we list our services, it's like, what do we do? SEO and SEM. What does that mean? Well, SEO is search engine optimization. SEM is search engine marketing. What does that mean? I'm glad you asked, you know. And then like, you know, PPC, pay per click.
Yep.
You know, which is, you know, that's the advertising that I'm at. We call it paid search a lot because it makes a little bit more sense. But pretty much like when somebody clicks on your ad, you pay per the click, you know. And then,
you mentioned PPC, you mentioned SEO, you mentioned SEM. What about SERP or SERP?
Yeah. So the SERP we use a lot because that's like everything we do. The SERP is the search engine results page. Yep. So a lot of times when we're talking to our clients, you know, I want to say, we want it to show up on the SERP. But nobody knows what that means. Just people in this field know what it means. But if you ever see, like, in capital letters, SERP, what they're talking about is search and results page, like where once you type in a query, click enter or, you know, search, where it goes, and you see all the listings and blue links. Yeah. That's the search and results page. It's where everybody wants to show up. Yeah. You know, everybody's like, can you give me the top page of Google?
Yeah, exactly.
Page.
One of those things that everybody knows, but they don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
So going towards like our campaigns, what is CPC?
That's the cost per click. So when you're doing paid search or PPC, every keyword costs a different price. That's made up of a couple different factors, but you know, when I'm looking at campaigns and I'm trying to like make them more efficient, the biggest thing I do that takes the most time is cutting costs. Okay. Because I want those keywords to be as cheap as possible so we can show more. Because if somebody's budget is $10 a day and they have, you know, some keywords that are $3 and some keywords that are $1, some keywords that are $2, I want to see how I can get those $3 keywords down to 2 or 1 so we can show more times. Because once you hit your daily budget, you're done for that day. Yep. So I want to be able to show out throughout the entire day and to the right people when they're looking for the products or services.
Awesome. Makes sense. What about CPA?
Cost per acquisition. So when you acquire a client, there's a cost study with it. And if it's word of mouth, cost is free because it's just people talking about it. Yep. But I like to know CPA because it helps me determine when I'm creating a plan for a client, what's an appropriate cost. So if you sell widgets and they're $5 a piece, right? And you spend $100 on marketing. Let's say you get 10 clients. Okay. That's $50. Yep. You spend $100 on marketing. So you have a negative CPA of 0.5. Yeah. So when I'm creating a plan for you, I wouldn't say $100. Yeah. I would say 25 or 10, 5. It just depends. Right. Because I want to make sure you're making a return on your investment. So I can get you like one client for $3. Your CPA is $3.
Gotcha.
And then also something comes with that is CLV, customer lifetime value. Okay. So let's say I come to you for a widget, right? Okay. So I pay you $5. Yeah. Then I might come back a couple years later and need another one. That's another $5. So my customer lifetime value is $10 with Caleb, right? Let's say I tell 3 friends about Caleb and 2 of them buy widgets. Well, my customer lifetime value has now became 20. Yes. Because not only did I buy 2, I had another friend buy 1, another friend buy 1. So not only did they start their customer lifetime value with $5, I've also got a customer lifetime value of $20.
Gotcha.
And I'm surprised that like not a lot of people, not a lot of business owners are familiar with that concept.
Right.
I mean, it is a fairly new concept. I learned it at Google.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's
Back in 2018, I think
Gotcha.
when I went to Austin, and I don't know, it might have been spring.
So
I think it was spring. It was
while
in
back.
2018
Yeah.
when I went to Austin. I know, yeah. So what else we got on there?
What about CPM? So talking about campaigns.
Right. So when you're running a YouTube campaign, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can do CPV, which would be cost per view. So like, it's usually around like 2 or 3 cents. Another one is CPM, and that's cost per thousand. I know it's confusing, but you think it'd be cost per million.
Yeah,
It's
I think
not.
it's like something.
It's like milli or something like that.
yeah, like
which is
Latin,
a
like Latin based, like millenniums, 1,000
knows?
years, or
I mean,
So
anyways, so like we like to do like $6 to $8. Those are not as prominent as like a cost per view, because cost per views you cannot skip. So like they're watching the whole thing, whereas like CPM
gotcha.
you can skip. So after 6 seconds you can skip them. So that's why they're a lot cheaper.
What about a CTA?
Call to action, very
Mhm.
important. Have it on every single page. Have it available anytime anybody is anywhere on your page. You always want to make it as easy as possible for them to contact you.
Awesome. What about a CTR?
Click-through rate. This is what I do best.
Yeah.
First time I went to Google in New York, I talked on the Google's page about click-through rate, because it's how many times your ad showed divided by how many times it's clicked. And back then, an average CPR was like 1.9%. I was running campaigns that had like 8.3, 11.6. They called them unicorns. No big deal.
Oh man, not to flex or anything like that.
Anyways,
not to
no.
flex.
A click-through rate is very important, because that's one of the factors that Google looks at when it's showing how high and how much your keyword is going to cost, as well as it shows like, is your copy working? Like, are people liking what your ads look like? Are they clicking on and going to it? So CTR is very important.
Sweet. We talked about ROI a little bit, return on investment. But what about ROAS?
ROAS is the other side of that. It's the paid search return on investment, because it stands for return on ad spend.
Okay.
So a good ROAS is 8. So that would mean for every $1 you spend on Google, you're getting $8 back. So that's what I strive for. It's always in flex, like very much in the beginning. It could be like $20 one day. It could be like $48 the next. It could be $1 the next day and stuff like that. It usually takes about 90 days for a ROAS to get like about where we want it, about where it's like stable. But it has to have a lot of data.
Yeah.
I don't like to start with ROAS off the bat. I like to start with a different type of bidding strategy and goal until we get like, enough like conversions and clicks, and then we can start focusing on like how to get return on ad spend. Not that we're not working on return on ad spend all the time. It's just like when it gets started, I'm trying to gather more data so I can make a better informed decision, because, I can estimate and get pretty close to like exactly what the spend is and like what we're going to see. But like, I don't know exactly until the campaign turns on, but I get pretty close.
And you've had some killer return on ad spends before for some of our clients' months. Like, I'm talking like way more than $8.
$8 is the base that I like to be at.
Yeah.
It's not usually what it is. It's usually a little bit higher, but
but still. What about a KPI?
KPI doesn't just refer to digital marketing. It refers to a lot of other aspects. It's a key performance indicator. When we're talking about search, in my reports I send, KPIs are always impressions, which is how many times your ad is shown. It's not a view because it's different. An impression, it's a set of eyeballs. Clicks, also very important. That's how they get to your website. Conversions are them completing action on your website, calling, filling out a form, purchasing, whatever your conversion is. Click-through rate. cost per conversion, ad spend.
So all those previous ones kind of combined to make up the KPIs.
Correct. Sorry.
So I'm gonna may test your knowledge a little bit here when it comes to like more my side of like software and tech, but still relevant to marketing. Do you know what HTML stands for?
No.
Hypertext markup language.
Exactly, hypertext markup language. Just our producer just said. So
from the back, the audience.
Hypertext markup language. You may hear that a lot when it comes to like web development.
I'm gonna say, be real. I've never heard that.
Really?
I don't even know what is it? Hypertext markup
language. So technically, if you're a web, that's why there's like web developers.
If you're a nerd.
Yeah. Yes, which I am, which I completely agree with.
It's okay, I am too.
But that's kind of why, because HTML, it's not a programming language, it's a markup language. So that's why there's web developers and the software developers, because HTML is not technically a programming language. Like XML, which is a cross markup language, like when you're making sitemaps and everything with XML. Yeah. So, you may hear that a lot if you're looking for a web developer for SEO. What about UI, UX?
UI is user interface. UX is user experience. And those are important because for paid search, you have your ad rank. Everybody wants to rank high, right?
Yep.
Half of that is made up on your bid, how much you like associate, hey, I want to spend this much, which a lot of people use Google's automated bidding strategy, so like you don't really set it, Google sets it. But anyways, half of it is that, the other half is quality score. Quality score is ad relevance. Does your copy and your keywords match what's on your website? Expected click-through rate. We talked about what that is. So what Google thinks your click-through rate is going to be. And landing page experience. Now, if your UX is not good, that's going to hurt your ad rank, and you're going to spend more to show in a lower spot. So user interface is what they see, what they interact with. User experience is like what their journey's like. Yeah.
And kind of going also UX, kind of going on my point as well when it comes to SEO. A lot of people think that SEO is only about keywords, when that's only a fraction of it. If you're interviewing someone to do SEO for you and they only mention keywords, that might be, kind of a red flag. Because when we do SEO proposals, we tear to the website. We talk about site speed. We talk about minifying their CSS. We talk about converting their images to WebP or JPEG. We make sure they have meta descriptions. We make sure they have alt tags.
Yeah, all that goes into it. Make sure that it's not clunky. That we tested on all different types of devices. iPhones, Galaxies,
iPads, and Safari,
desktops. Yeah,
Safari,
testing everything.
Chrome,
make sure that it shows correctly to everybody.
Yeah, so that's kind of when it comes to UX, SEO is very important to that as well. And also when it comes to UI as well, user interface, HTML is often paired with CSS, which stands for Cascade Styling Sheets. That's what makes the visual aspect of your website. So if you have just HTML, everything will be in black and white. CSS is what gives the site's colors and what gives it the animations and what gives it the custom fonts and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, so you forgot to mention JavaScript. So if you could do HTML, CSS,
and JavaScript,
you can create a website.
You can create a website. That's all you need.
So JavaScript helps certain functions happen on the website and the functionality of this happens when this happens and stuff like this. I use JavaScript a lot for tagging conversions and putting Google Tag Manager in sites and stuff like that. So I understand what Caleb.
Exactly. So if anyone there wants to build a website, you really only need to know 3 languages. HTML is for the format, CSS for the styling, and JS for the functionality. Right. Going back to our acronyms, what about GTM?
Google Tag Manager. That's my favorite. Google Tag Manager is a good tool to use because on a website, you always have a little bit of code, right? So it's always good to put Google Analytics on your website. So that's one string of code, right? And then you might have a conversion tag on there. There's another string of code. And then you have to put, it's called a global site tag on there. So you're adding all this string and all this JavaScript to this page. Well, JavaScript makes it run slower.
Yes, it does.
So instead of putting a whole bunch of JavaScript on there, we put 2 lines of code, one in the head, one in the body. It says Google Tag Manager. And it's a container that contains all these strings of code. So instead of having like 20 lines of code, the JavaScript's one down, you just have 2.
Yep, exactly.
So we use Google Tag Manager on every site
Yep.
that we manage, and we strongly encourage other people to do it because it can store Google Analytics. You can store all the other tags that you need on there that are important to like for your site and for your goals. So
Yeah, you actually just kind of wrapped into my last acronym, but GA4 was going to be my last one.
yeah, so Google Analytics 4. Now, Google Analytics 4 replaced Universal Analytics, which used to be known as GA3.
Mm-hmm.
You probably didn't know that because it changed to Universal Analytics back in 2016 when I started doing
I've heard
this.
you talking about it, but I never got to use it myself.
Yeah. So Universal Analytics was a great tool. It had goals. You could set goals in there. It tracked very well. It was easy to see, the way it changed and like what it added was the ability to see paths. So I could see, when somebody clicked my ad, what page they went to, then what page they went to when they bounced, stuff like that. It was very easy for me to track what was happening. The reason that it went away was just because, it'd been out for a while, and GA4 was introduced with security in mind.
Okay.
And, making sure that, like, users' data is protected. And, we can track stuff in a safe way for the user. It's always frustrating when like we get a new analytics system, and it took a while to get used to it. But it is a good tool, and I like it. I still don't know everything about it, but what I've seen and what I've been able to uncover and getting used to it, it's a great tool, and I hope we don't have another analytics tool for a long time because it's always frustrating. But it is a good tool, and I think Google did a really good job with it. A lot of the issues that we had with Universal Analytics were fixed or updated, or there's a different way to do it. The one thing I do miss, I would say, with goals, because clearly defining goals in analytics, it would keep track of it. So now I just have to do it myself, but no big deal. So, there's so many acronyms on this. This is just like the main ones that we covered here.
Yeah, and these ones really just marketing. I could go into AI and LLM and ML that I'm not even going to touch on this podcast. But yeah, so hopefully this clears up a lot of confusion for people looking for marketers, because I know it can be beast. I didn't know half of these when I first started, so a lot of these I learned literally on the job. So if I work in IT and I didn't even know what these means, I know people searching for marketers, and I'm sure that a lot of them may be confused.
Yeah, and while we're redoing our website, we're actually going to put a glossary on there. It's going to have these three-letter acronyms as well as other pieces of information and some jargon. So if you hear something you're not really sure what it means, go to TheSearchLabs website. Look and see if you can find it there. If not,
you can always drop a comment in the video. Me and Zach will be happy to reply to you.
You can call us from the website or contact with us, because we have call to actions throughout
Yes, we do.
thing. So you can always get in contact with us. We'd be more than happy to help you out.
Absolutely. Well, Zach, thank you for joining me. It was great to have you. Hopefully this is going to clear up some of our clients and our business confusion. But yeah, it's great to have you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.